answer. Because you are that, you are capable, you are gifted, and you are soon to be opinionated. It's okay to be different, and it's so okay to just be. The world awaits to receive you.
Blessings, and good evening, everyone. Happy evening and happy Sabbath. Welcome to Uncensored Enlightenment Talk, and you're here with your host, Grace Levi. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something very important, something that I think the Black community should pay attention to, especially in times like Shamaji. Let me pronounce her name correctly. And today, we're going to talk about how the FBI or the government fails us. I'm going to focus on the FBI because in each case, the FBI seemed to do some type of investigation or did not. But in each case, these cases were very troublesome for the Black community. So let's talk about it. What I'm noticing a pattern is what the FBI do, and a lot of our agencies do, is they chase money. And sometimes they don't chase particular cases that are really detrimental to the Black community and that our hearts are tied with. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you to the new subscribers, to the coming subscribers. Again, bear with us, turn your notifications on. We're having some system issues. What is the FBI actual job? Okay, so right here, one of the things I want to highlight right here, because I'm like, am I tripping? Is this something that they're not supposed to do? Here it says the violent crime. The FBI top priority are national security threats, but the Bureau continue to play a role in combating violent crime in large municipalities and local communities across the United States. The FBI focus on the most violent crime and organize those pose a major threat to the American society. Significant violent crimes such as mass killing, gang violence, armed robbery, drug trafficking, I'm trying not to say those words, can paralyze communities and stretch states and local law enforcement resources to their limits. Now, there's some factors in each cases that I want to talk about that is very fishy, and that's why I do think that the FBI should have done a thorough investigation in each of these cases. We're gonna make sure that we give love and tribute to the victims. I do want to say that the parents of these victims are still crying out. I do follow the mother of um, Kenneka, Miss Martin, and she continues to cry out for justice as well, in love and memory of her daughter, as well as Kendrick Johnson. Kendrick Johnson mother is a big advocate of his investigation, getting it open. If you pay attention to her page, she's an open. Um, she speaks openly about this case and how she wants to basically continue and investigating it. So I definitely want to give y'all a heads up that Kendrick Johnson's mother is still seeking um, the closure, as well as Shamaji's father as well. I don't follow him, but I do. I'm going to get you up to date on his particular case, as well as Shanquella. I don't follow their family, Shanquella, but I do. Based on what we find, we go over here. We know that they're still seeking justice. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention because this is not just stories. As I always mention, this is real life. These are real people life. So I find it very intriguing to follow them. And the morning never stops. So this is what made me, well, I talked about the two pastors. Those are not who I want to talk to, but the two pastors facing charges for $50 million labor and money laundering scandal. That's really what made me jump on thinking about, okay, the feds run down on a lot of things that got to do with money, but when it comes to other cases, we're still bleeding over them. So let's play this real quick. U.S. prosecutors. Let's start. We're going to be starting with Shanquella's case. Okay. Now we're going to start with the beginning, just a little bit about it, and then we're going to bring it up to date As you know, Shanquella went out with her friends. Let me hold on a second. She went out with her friends to Cabo. And this is something that touches a lot of different aspects in any community, Black community, just dealing with young people and, you know, their friends and understanding friendship, understanding how to be treated, what to expect. You know, a lot of times you can feel when people don't like you. And myself, I'm really funny about going out with people who, you know, may have some indifference with me, especially to another country. So, with that being said, this was the foundations of this particular situation where Miss Shanquilla went out with a group of her friends, some of them being her best friend, one of the guys being her best friend, and she ended up being unalive after a brawl. Okay, so um, let's put this on the screen. I think, let's see, hold on one second because I was trying. Here we go. So I'm not going to show you the fight, but I am going to show you some of the things that has been happening afterwards. So you know that they have been looking for the young lady, not even looking for the young lady Dejanay, but this is Shanquilla arrest warrant for femicide. Let me make sure I'm not getting beside myself because some of the audience haven't really been. I know y'all know about the case, but give me a second. Let me pull something else up so I can make sure that I'm giving y'all a good understanding of what happened, okay? Because I just went straight into what happened, what's happening now, the update, but I do want to go back into what actually happened just to give y'all a flashback. Okay. It's a little hard. Sometimes it's hard to find like clear videos because what end up happening is a lot of people have been making videos about this. Okay, so let's play this one. This was one of the first few broadcasts, I believe. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. I'll be having my stuff in order, but I want to make sure that I'm giving y'all a good timeline so we can pay respect to this particular situation. All right, let's play this video. Shows woman being attacked in Mexico before being unalive. Okay. Now we can selectively eliminate. So this is what we're going to be watching. Hopefully they don't have the full clip because that clip really bothers me. I'm going to be honest. I hate seeing it. It really does something to me to see her being attacked. Hold on one second.
Until something terrible happened. It was the perfect warm weather getaway until something terrible happened, and 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson wound up dead in Mexico.
I just sit back and wait on God because, like I say, she's going to get justice.
On October 28th, Shanquella traveled from her home in North Carolina to Mexico with 6 friends. They'd booked a villa in Cabo. These are images taken from a disturbing video circulating online. Her father confirms to CNN the video shows Shanquella being thrown to the floor and beaten on the head. It's unclear when the video was taken or if it depicts the moment she suffered the fatal injury. According to a copy of the death certificate obtained by CNN affiliate WSOC, Shanquella's cause of death was severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which is instability or excessive movement in the uppermost neck vertebrae. The death certificate also notes that just about 15 minutes passed between the time she was injured and her death.
We just waiting for someone to be arrested.
Originally, the people Shanquella was traveling with, who her parents say were all friends from college, told her parents Shanquella died from alcohol poisoning.
Something is not adding up right here.
Not adding up because prosecutors in Mexico say evidence shows the death resulted from a direct attack, not an accident, and involved one of Shanquella's female friends. The suspect has not been named and no one has been charged, but Mexican authorities confirm an arrest warrant has been issued for the crime of femicide, the killing of a woman because of her gender.
If you know Quilla, she always get her way. So she gonna get justice. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more so disappointed that she was around people that she thought were her friends.
The FBI is investigating, and Mexican prosecutors are looking to extradite the suspect once they locate her. Shanquella's mother had spoken with her daughter the day before she died and said she sounded happy.
She was laughing and talking and said a chef was getting ready to cook them some tacos. And I said, well, okay, enjoy yourself. Love you. I will talk to you tomorrow. And I never spoke with her again.
Shanquella was a student at Winston-Salem State University in North Carolina. Her father says she loved gymnastics and also had her own hair braiding business. Her parents say she had a heart of gold and never mistreated anybody. Hundreds turned out to pay their respects at Shanquella's funeral. Her parents are vowing to be her voice and fight for justice as they try to move forward without what her father calls his only jewel.
So this
He's a dictator. He's a dictator.
God, we put him on, and he is a dictator. That was a public announcement. But back to the Shanquella story. There's a few things that really stand out to me. That's why I want to talk about this, because I think the FBI had so many grounds to do a thorough investigation, and the investigation that they have done, we're going to talk about the findings, how it's just out of pocket. Because first and foremost, the first autopsy comes back with an atlas fluctuation. I'm saying it wrong. Atlas fluctuation. So basically, right around like the spinal under the bottom of the neck was broken. It was twisted to a certain extent. Now, if you remember that, I had trouble up there too long. If you remember the video, we saw what really traumatized me was to see her falling, hitting the ground and hitting the corner of the bed. So with that being said, just like a regular person, I think we all saw the point where she was really injured. But so what's so wild to me is that not only that we saw the fight, we saw the young lady Dejanay, that was her name at the time. She did change her name. We'll give you her new name. Dejanay fighting her, but they also made several false statements. Like, these things are illegal. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so many things that was like, okay, that really shocked the public on why didn't the FBI actually just detain these people and send them to Cabo? Because as you see, it's some type of arrest warrant for at least Dejanay. Okay. And it's really troubling because the resources that they use for other investigation, these are some of the things that they should use for our people. It's not like they don't go out the country. Okay, so Shanquella Robinson death arrest issue for femicide. So let you listen to this. And what I'm going to pull up is I also have a case where the FBI literally went out to sea to go get a man who unalived his wife. So you know what I'm saying? It's really crazy because when it comes to us, they don't have that same energy. But let's play this real quick.
An arrest warrant has now been issued in the mysterious death of an American in Mexico. Last month, 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson died while on vacation with friends. She went to Cabo October 28th and was dead the next day. ABC's Victor Oquendo reports Robinson's family is demanding answers.
Tonight, authorities in Mexico issuing an arrest warrant in the mysterious death of 25-year-old American tourist Shanquella Robinson. Local officials have not yet named the person, but they're calling them a direct aggressor against the Charlotte native and have initiated a request for extradition from the United States. In video that is too graphic to show, one of Robinson's acquaintances can be seen physically attacking her inside the room of the Cabo resort where they were vacationing last month. According to local reports, on October 29th, one of the guests staying at the resort called for help around 2 p.m. Upon arriving, medical professionals were informed that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol. A doctor reportedly said she was stable but dehydrated, suggesting she may be treated at a hospital. The guests insisting she remain at the villa. A police report stating Robinson went into cardiac arrest and was declared deceased around 6 p.m. But those reports differing from an autopsy obtained by ABC News stating that medical professionals arrived at the villa around 3 p.m. and declared her dead within 15 minutes, citing that Robinson died from a severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck.
But this to happen to her is just terrible. You know, I just couldn't believe it. It's like I'm still asleep, like a nightmare.
So mind you, they lied. Okay, the autopsy, you're going to see the change in the autopsy that's different. These are all the things to me that should send red flags to the FBI and actually do a thorough investigation. But I'm going to show you another lie that, they just overlooked, that they didn't change their story and basically says that she hit her head on the toilet bowl. So we're just going to go through this again because we want the people to remember what happened to these young people and how tragic it was for the Black community and how their family is still pursuing justice to this day. I really suggest you just follow their Facebook pages and you listen. It's a daily or at least a weekly post about these individuals and their loss. But again, this is something to me that says that the FBI should, again, red light. Let's listen to this. This is part of their investigation. FBI report, Shanquella Robinson friend says she hit her head on the toilet before the mysterious death, even though they see a video of a fight. That's why the findings of this particular investigation is so horrendous to me.
The FBI has released its first findings on a complicated, mysterious death involving a Charlotte woman who died while on a trip to Mexico back in 2022. WBTV was the first to break this story to you back then. We're talking about Shanquella Robinson. She, along with several others, thought to be friends, now known as the Cabo Six, vacationed in Cabo San Lucas back in October of 2022. Shanquella died while on the trip, but her death has been a mystery ever since. Soon after, videos surfaced online showing what is believed to be Shanquella and one of her friends fighting inside their hotel room. The group said Shanquella died of alcohol poisoning, but an autopsy.
So it went from alcohol poisoning to hitting her head on the toilet bowl and us seeing a physical fight. Again, if you're an FBI agent, I'm just being real, what would that prompt you to do?
Autopsy reveals she died of neck and spinal cord injuries. Well, WBTV has obtained the first of a series of initial findings from the FBI detailing what happened and why. It's a heavily redacted report, but the FBI states Shanquella and a group of friends, all names redacted, were in Mexico to celebrate one of their birthdays, adding the group stayed at an Airbnb. The report goes on to say there was an altercation and Shanquella died. Shanquella's friend said she was drinking and hit her head on the toilet, something we have never heard to this day. Well, someone in the group thought there may be 2 cameras in the house and tried to obtain the footage. Blank then contacted local law enforcement in Mexico. Pictures of Shanquella's body showed bruises on her. One person describing it looked like she was stomped on.
Mind you, this is the FBI report. I pulled it up, but it was so redacted that it was just disgusting that I couldn't even I couldn't take the time to go through it. But it is heavily redacted. But this is their report. Again, then we're going to look at what they decide to do. Justice or just us? That's when I have to really bring that statement back to him. Justice or just us?
Just weeks ago, WBTV spoke exclusively with Shanquella's father. He says the whole ordeal has been tough for their family, but is hopeful a new Trump administration can put fresh eyes on the case.
We still waiting. I'm gonna let Dad talk, but let me let him talk because I don't have no Trump. I have no hope in these administrations. I have hope in the people pushing them to do stuff by us being on them, and that's how stuff go. But to just think that someone's gonna come in and do something, maybe for tokenism, for a second. But I'm gonna let Shanquella father, speak.
It just seemed like somebody trying to sweep it up under the rug, like she was just a nobody, but she was somebody. She was my daughter. She was somebody to other friends that she had that loved and cared about her so much.
Now, to this day, no charges have ever been filed. Of course, WBTV will continue to keep tabs on the story.
Now, this was before Mexico put out their warrant for their arrest. But again, the reason why we're putting that out because exactly what Dad said. They basically said that she means something to somebody. Like, this really hurts. Like, they're not going to let it go. And what really makes me want to talk about this too is because y'all know that I focus on Alexis Wilson, and I have somebody under my YouTube page said, won't you just leave her alone, stop talking about her, like let her rest. But then you watch Mama Carver's page, and every other day she's still posting about her daughter. So it's something that the community need to realize from the outside, and just to stop watching stuff, because these are real people lives. So again, I could bring it to him when I go into um Kenneka's account, and then we go into actually Kendrick account, and we'll go to the family's Facebook page to this day. Kendrick mom is a true warrior. She's not going to stop. So this was the new autopsy found things, okay? Just to get you through so we can flash back of what happened. This is how many changes and up and down went on with this particular case.
There's no reason why a Black woman should go on vacation with her friends, be returned.
This is Shanquella's family lawyer. Her name is Miss Robinson as well. No relation, she says.
To her family in a box, and nothing be done for 5 months.
First told you at noon, federal prosecutors will not bring charges. Tonight, Shanquella's family says they're disappointed, but determined to continue their fight for justice. Thanks for watching WBTV All New at 6 o'clock. I'm Jamie Bull. Molly has the night off. The charging decision comes after another surprise in this case today, a new autopsy with different findings. The Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office just shared those with WBTV. Brandon Hamilton has been on your side, keeping you updated on every development in this case from here in Charlotte all the way to Washington, D.C. And he joins us live now from the FBI Charlotte field office. Brandon, walk us through those 19 pages that you have right there in your hand after hearing from Shanquella's family today.
Well, Jamie, first, the important part is from the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office. This autopsy says there was no broken spine. Now, that is different than what we've heard from the Mexican authorities, which said and claimed there was a broken spine on Shanquella's body. Now, Shanquella and her attorney, her family, all saying today they are now left with more questions than answers.
On behalf of the family, again, we're very disappointed, very deeply disappointed.
Disappointment from the family of Shanquella Robinson after the Department of Justice announced Wednesday no federal charges will be filed in her death.
While we're here disappointed, we're not deterred. We're going to continue to press on. If the U.S. authorities are now again telling us, oh, well, it's back on Mexico because Mexican authorities have to do something, we don't have a problem with that.
According to the DOJ, the decision not to pursue federal charges came after, quote, result of the autopsy and after careful deliberation and review of the investigative materials by both U.S. attorneys' offices, end quote. That autopsy, conducted by the Mecklenburg County Medical Examiner's Office, nearly a month after Shanquella was found dead in Cabo, Mexico, and after her body was embalmed. It found no spinal cord injury and lists the cause of death as undetermined.
Wow.
Experts from Wake Forest Baptist Hospital also looked at the spine. Their determination is also part of the Mecklenburg County autopsy report. That report differs from what Mexican authorities have claimed. In documents previously released, an autopsy report conducted by Mexican authorities listed a broken spine and death as a femicide.
Her attack was captured on video, and now we're being told that there isn't going to be an arrest.
Sue Ann Robinson says they were told the FBI interviewed those who traveled with Shanquella on the trip and have communicated with Mexican authorities. She says they are ready to, quote, carve out their own path to justice, including a rally in Washington, D.C. on May 19th.
If the communication or the alleged missing piece can be completed before then we won't be there. But if not, we will be there and we'll be demanding it, because it cannot be that someone can go overseas and commit a crime against a U.S. citizen and come back and not be affected in any way.
So it's crazy. Basically, what the DOJ did was put it back on Mexico. But as you see, Mexico put a warrant out for her arrest. They just have not picked her up. Now, let me see if I can find anything else in this article that's a little bit different. This one, no federal charges will be filed in Shanquella Robinson's death following investigation. So I just want to look at this article. Sometimes when you look at another article, you listen, it'd be a little bit different. So let's see what we can get out of this. Kind of like the reason why. Why? What was the reason why? Oh, Mexico could get them, but you won't bring them to her. So the FBI announced this week that it has investigated the death of Shanquella Robertson and concluding that it will not file charges related to the case based on the result of the autopsy. We talked about that. So the death of Miss Robinson has been incredibly difficult for her family and the community. As a matter of police, federal officials generally do not issue public statements concerning that status of an investigation. However, given the circumstances of Robinson's death and the public concern surrounding the investigation, it is important to reassure the public that experienced federal agents and seasoned prosecutors extensively review the available evidence and have concluded the federal charges cannot be pursued. That is straight crazy. That is crazy. I can't even understand how they can't win. They can indict a ham sandwich. They can put it together, and the feds have the ability to basically hold people until they finish the investigation, and they know usually they hold the person until a person tell or they find enough evidence to keep them. Okay, so later a video. So this is about the video surfacing of the beating. So we already know, like we said, it was lies. It was two different findings of the autopsy, but as a healthcare professional, I'm not an expert on post-mortem, changes, but I don't think bones fuse together to be broken one time and broken another time. Because I know I like to watch a lot of geographics and old movies and documentaries about our ancestors. So usually they can tell the manner of death thousands of years later. So I can't see how they didn't see a broken spine. But as you saw in the first autopsy, they even talked about, or even in the FBI report, that there were signs of beating, abuse in the video. So that shows you that basically the DOJ sucks. I'm just gonna be honest. They indict what they want to indict, and I do believe, and I'm gonna have to talk about it from this perspective. I do believe that we're under genocide in America. And if you don't understand it, we're going to break it down in several different aspects on Uncensored Enlightenment Talk. We're under genocide as Black America. It is mentally, financially, spiritually, and socially. So these type of things, it needs to be highlighted that in the social justice system, we are severely defaulted in the cases that we get tried in, and how they pursue justice against us, and how they portray us. They portray us as dogs and animals, and that our life really doesn't matter in America. And that's part of the steps of genocide. That's why I really think it's important for us as brown melanated people to know our nationality and who we are. It's called a national platform. And I really do think Black America is going to have to one day go on that national platform and cry out genocide. That's why you have people migrating to other countries, because they've been going through genocide. They've been going through things like that, like religious oppression. We go through that, but we just don't pursue it the way other people do, like leave the country. But I'm just giving you an example. Like this is, I really feel like it's really bad the way they handle us as people in America. So I'm not gonna let no one forget, especially how they wipe our history out and um try to change what happened. You see what I'm saying? Years down the line, if we don't report on this and keep reporting on what happened, they're just going to change the narrative and say, this happened. So at this point right now, there's two updates. Well, I updated the last time I did the Shanquella case. If you don't know, please look. I'll put it at the end. I did two videos on Shanquella. And this is the last update, was the federal lawsuit that they filed. So let's play this. Make sure that that's muted. All right, so the lawyer of the mother of Shanquella Robinson has filed a lawsuit in the Charlotte woman's death. Let's go. Let's play this.
Charlotte woman on an update in the case of the mysterious death of a Charlotte woman on vacation with her friends in Mexico. According to our ABC News partner, the mother of Shanquella Robinson has now filed a lawsuit against her daughter's travel companions. According to the family's attorney, the Robinson family is seeking damages to address both the emotional and financial toll of the incident. Robinson traveled to Cabo San Lucas in 2022 with a group of 6 friends. They claim Robinson died of alcohol poisoning, but investigators said the 25-year-old died of a broken neck. No one has been criminally charged.
All right, so this was the hold on. The young lady, Dejanay, who was the not alleged assailant, the one we started beating on Shanquella, not only changed her name, but she has the nerve to be fighting this lawsuit. Yes, this is how emboldened the system has made bad characters. So this is the Stockton FBI document reveal new details. Is this new? This March 2025. So it's something new in here I wanted to show y'all. It's the footage. So here is Mexican authorities issued an arrest warrant for one of the Cabo 6. Her name is Dejanay. Okay. But the State Department reportedly never forwarded the request to the International Affairs Office, so they were never extradited to this day. Why? That's why we can't let things die down. We have to keep talking about it. People have to keep writing letters with the family. That's why they're constantly on their Facebook page crying out for help. That is not just to make a post, y'all. It's really about us coming together and putting the pen to paper. All right, so the judge dismissed Shanquella lawsuit against the FBI and the State Department because the family feels like they didn't do a good job. Let's watch this right real quick. Why Shanquella Robinson murder case is stuck allegedly. Why? Because it's 2 different autopsies. So what? They don't need that autopsy. Let's play this real quick. Let's see if it. Okay. Okay, the FBI is investigating the murder of Shanquella Robinson in Mexico. This is why it's like the 25-year-old woman from North Carolina traveled October 28th. Her anniversary is coming up. With the 6 university friends, okay, where she was found unconscious. I want to see why it's stuck. Autopsy report lists the cause of death as severe spinal cord injury at luxation. The approximate time between the injury and death is 15 minutes allegedly. So I know what they're trying to say. I know they're trying to say like compared to the people's statement, the witness statement, the autopsy may reflect different, but they have to understand that all autopsies are not always right. I'm just going to be honest. That is what it is. There are autopsies that I severely question were they done correctly, especially because of the biasness of the forensic analysts. In some cases, it's not a fucking joke. I'm going to be honest. So you can't always run with that. I heard testimonies where, okay, just for instance, in the Tyree Nichols case, when you heard the forensic analysts talking about, the course of the hospital, if I remember, I went through that. She tried to bring up the fact that he had clogged arteries and it could have led to him having hypertension and leading to his kidneys failing, not to the fact that he was beaten down, he was internally bleeding, and he was far away before that. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'd be like, I don't believe all forensic analysts because sometimes they be compromised, and that's just real. Because that's what it sounded like when the lady was testifying in the Tyree Nichols case. If y'all didn't see that, go check it out. That's what we do here. We kind of go deeper into analyzing things that's happening. So just in case if you're involved in or someone you could kind of know how to analyze it and how to kind of come at it. Because these are some of the things that we don't pay attention to. We be so caught in the emotionalism of these situations that's when it's time for us to fight, we can't fight. So let me figure out why was it stuck. But honestly, I think it was stuck. And I'm just gonna have to say it uncensored because they categorize us as black, ex-voided, as nothing. So just is the contradiction in the autopsy, basically, by saying that she was alive for several hours, then pronouncing her dead. So that just said that they did fraudulent paperwork. So the Mexican government officials, they the assessment was wrong, the timing on the paper was wrong, all of that, but it does not negate the fact that this young lady, it was a video of her fighting or getting fought on, her back hitting the corner of the side rail very hard, and then she becoming unalive, and they leaving her. They left her. So these are a lot of factors that I'm like, yo, this is wild. And before we move on to our next story, I'm gonna just talk about a story where they literally went out to sea to go get somebody because the person laughed at them. FBI. Okay. So the judge dismissed Shanquella's suit against the FBI and the State Department. Robinson family pushes for the case to stay in the United States. No ruling made in Shanquella hearing as of yet. And we're going to keep our eye on what's going on with her particular situation. So it's the new court filing, which is $100 million, the federal lawsuit. So we know that they try to already separate the feds and the government, saying, nah, they just doing their job, even though they didn't do a good job and they didn't really investigate. That's why I think a lot of our issues need to be brought to the national floor. We have to bring it there and call genocide. You can. And then y'all we have another it's honestly we have to have another country come dictate the actions of how they treat us in America. Black America is not a joke, because Black Americans have no representation because we're not connected to land. And I'm saying me categorizing myself as Judah, as Black Americans. So they use that as we not having no representation. And I fall under that as Levi, because they be trying to disrespect Haiti. Even though I have an embassy that's connected to my nation, they you see what they doing in Haiti, but we don't care in Haiti. We separated. We like, look, y'all, but that's a whole nother story. But I just want y'all to understand the power of having representation, and my opinion why Black America is treated like this in the courts and when they're investigating us. The 13th Amendment was made for us. They're still trying to define how to treat Black people. So that's why we got to put this all together. This is not sectionated stuff. This is a systematic genocide to Black America. This is my opinion, and we just talking about some things. But honestly, I think it's coming to him because of the things that we're going through out here. It is. They're so emboldened that they're erasing history. They're going directly after things that's supposed to represent Black America, and it really don't, like DEI. But even to use that propaganda and say Black America, DEI, when it's not that's not what DEI is. It shows the level of hate that they have for Black America. And people, it floods our internet, it floods TikTok, it floods Instagram with all the propaganda. Then it moved on to Black fatigue. Can you see the systematic genocide that's going on here? And genocide engulfs what engulfs genocide is when the people don't look at the other people as human anymore. And I don't think they're looking at us like we're human. That's why they're okay with doing this. So right here is the $100 million Shanquella Robinson federal lawsuit. Let's play this real quick. But we know that the DOJ
judge hearing some arguments in a case related to the death of Shanquella Robinson, the Charlotte woman who died on a trip in Mexico. Her mother is suing the FBI, the U.S. Department of State, and the people who were on the trip with her daughter. You'll remember the FBI found that there was not enough evidence, that is, to prosecute the Cabo 6, and also ruled that Shanquella's death as inconclusive. The lawsuit claims the federal agencies involved were negligent in how they handled her death.
They're the investigative agency for the country. They know what it takes and what time and delay does to evidence, that it could lead to spoliation of evidence.
The lawsuit is seeking $100 million. We do want to note the judge heard from attorneys of some of the travel mates. They're asking for the case to be tossed, saying it should be handled in Mexico, not in the United States.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is show the last update of what's going on and how Miss Dejanay think that she can change her name and get up out of this lawsuit. That's how emboldened, even we do it to each other. That's Deuteronomy. Can't say this ain't black on black crime. It is. And we got the devil in all of us. So it's like some of us ain't gonna make it. God will get his recompense. But yeah, she's still walking around, living her best life. Come to find out that her family has some type of connections out there. But we'll get more in detail about that if we do a follow-up. But let's play this right here. Shout out to WCNC. This was 2 months ago.
Shanquella Robinson, you may be familiar with this. So we got some new developments. And again, new developments when it comes to the ongoing fight, when it comes to justice and the death of Shanquella Robinson from Charlotte. So one of the travel mates who vacationed with Robinson in Cabo back in 2022 is trying to get the civil lawsuit against her thrown out. WCNC Charlotte's Jessica Pierre joins us live now. She's there at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse, I believe. So, and Jess, you've been following the story for months. Catch us up. What do you have? What's the latest?
Hi, yeah, so I'm right outside of actually the federal courthouse, and we were just here a few months ago when a federal judge heard the arguments in a lawsuit that the family filed against the FBI, the Department of State, as well as all of the 6 travel mates. Now, it's been more than 2.5 years since Shanquella Robinson died in that mysterious death in Mexico. And we had seen that video. That
it really bothers me. They keep calling it mysterious, but I'm gonna concede it's not mysterious.
That went viral, showing her getting beaten by one of those travel mates. But after all of this time, no one has been held accountable. So like I mentioned, the family sued all of the folks in the trip, the FBI and the Department of State, claiming negligence for the federal agency. And so now the woman who has been accused as being the main aggressor in those videos, she's asking for those charges to be dropped. So Imani Green, she changed her name. Her name was Dejanay Jackson, but now she goes by Imani Green. She has filed so that for the judge to dismiss the wrongful death lawsuit against her. She claims that she wasn't properly served in the court documents and says the statute of limitation has expired. Now, we did reach out to Shanquella Robinson's family attorney, Sue Ann Robinson, and she says that this information is incorrect. So, it's gonna, I guess, it kind of all comes down to what the judge decides at the end on if this case is going to be dismissed or not. However, the judge did dismiss the lawsuit against the FBI and the Department of State. Now, another thing, again, this has been a long, ongoing case. The travel mates, when they first came back from the trip, they spoke to the family and told them that she had died of alcohol poisoning. But her death records and so forth showed that she had a broken neck and a severed spinal cord injury on that trip, which all, go along with that mysterious death of hers. And then that video that went viral after that, showing her getting beaten by one of those folks on the trip, tells a different tale. So, her family has been fighting for justice for a very long time, just really wanting someone to be held accountable in her death. Now, at last check, no final ruling has been made yet on the dismissal request. Nick?
And Jesse, before I let you go, on a personal note, like at least since I've been here over 1.5 years, and you've been covering this story a lot. Like, what has it been like covering this story? Because there's been so many twists and turns since this happened.
There have been a lot of twists and turns, and it's been a long time, and there's been a lot of emotions tied to this case. I remember going to her funeral, and hundreds of people showed up wearing pink and, showing support for her, people who knew her, people who didn't know her. And I think that the question continues. You go on a trip, vacation with who you believe are 6 friends of yours. And then, if you're a family member of Shanquella Robinson, it's like, wait, what happened to my child? She went on this trip. You see this video of her being beaten, and there's so many questions. Why would this happen? Why would others sit around and, record it, and not do anything to stop it? And so now you have.
I mean, how many charges could be put against these Cabo 6 just based on what we've seen? And it's not circumstantial. You see this They left, they lied, the video, the fight, everything. They lied to the mom. It was even allegations of money being taken from Shanquella. A little backstory was that she was a really nice individual. That's why my heart resonates for her too, as well, because sometimes your kindness can really be taken for weakness, and you just being kind, giving to people, and they're around you like vultures. So allegedly, her best friend, which was the guy, was using her. All types of things were going on. So we're going to keep our eye on this, but obviously Dejanay changed her name. This is the young lady who we're talking about right here. She's still walking the streets of, I guess, North Carolina as a free woman and trying to fight this case with no consciousness. And it's so crazy because you know how the YouTube streets is. I was keeping my eye on it, and they were talking to their family, asking them how they feel, and their family was getting upset and everything. We codify some of this behavior. So I want to send love and blessings to Miss Shanquella Robinson. I don't want anyone to forget her story. Her family is still fighting for justice for her. The suit is still pending against the Cabo. So again, I want to say I love you guys. I want to say thank you for being here with Grace Levi. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on my next live. Until then, you already know what we're doing. You already know what we're doing.
This is Super Mayor Tiffany A. Hilliard, the People's Mayor. So, you guys doing a lot of snitching.
Don't let my snitching fool you. I love a good jam.
I could not be here breathing and be comfortable if I was really as bad as they was making it. You know, nobody could be around me. So for me to be this calm, I must have some kind of inner peace. And my inner peace is knowing that once everybody take the time to really see what type of person I am, you'd be surprised that I stuck around this long.
I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. You know, live the best life I can live, be as happy as I can be. Nothing is perfect for anybody. I don't.
Boys, I swear, I think I figured it out. You know why they don't want us redneck brothers and sisters and the hood brothers and sisters getting along? You know why? Because we'd be unstoppable. I'm telling you right now, we would shut shit down.
Public comment, and she'll just put her head down and she won't listen to anything. She won't acknowledge anything. You know, I've seen mothers of murdered children and people who've lost family members in Dalton. She'll put her head down and she will not even acknowledge that the person is there.
I'm Cara Wilson. I'm the mother of Alexis Wilson, killed by Dalton, Illinois police. At the time that my daughter was killed, Tiffany stood in front of a microphone much like this and said that she stood with the cops and they did do the right thing by killing my 19-year-old child. Not only did she not take those words back, she didn't offer her condolences. She's never said anything. The first thing she did was hire this group of security guards to surround her and PR. So the real reason Tiffany has security is hiding from accountability about what she said about Alexis Wilson when she was killed. Now, if you watch the coverage of this murder, these officers violated her rights, reached in her car, jumped in her car, and put 7 bullets in my child. 2 in her head and 5 down her side. And the next day, you guys tried to spin it like she did something. Watch the video. She did nothing to deserve this. And again,